The lawyer placed a thick folder on my kitchen table. Then he looked directly at me with the kind of expression that made me feel as if I were already guilty of something. "My client believes you have an obligation to share your inheritance with the Carter family," he said. I slowly looked across the table. My mother-in-law, Evelyn Carter, was sitting there with a perfectly calm smile on her face. It was the same smile she had worn at my wedding just 6 days earlier. Polite, elegant, almost affectionate. But today, that smile looked completely different. I glanced at the folder, then back at Evelyn. "You came to my house with a lawyer," I said quietly. "To ask me for money?" Evelyn crossed her arms. "Not just money, Claire. Family money." My heart was pounding, but my voice remained calm, because there was something neither of them knew. They had absolutely no idea how much money I really had, and they certainly didn't know what my father had instructed me to do if anyone ever came asking for it. "My name is Clare Morgan. I'm 32 years old. I'm a captain in the United States Army. And until that morning, I had been desperately trying to convince myself that marrying Michael Carter had been the right decision. 6 days earlier, I had stood beside Michael in a small church outside Washington, D.C. Our family and friends surrounded us. Some of my military colleagues were there too, but one person was missing. My father, General Daniel Morgan, had been gone for 11 months. Before his retirement, he had been a 4-star general who spent more than 4 decades serving his country. To most people, he had been disciplined, intimidating, and nearly impossible to impress. To me, he was simply Dad. He taught me how to properly fold a uniform, how to keep my word when nobody was watching, and how to stay calm when everyone else was losing control. But there was one lesson he repeated more than any other. Never tell people what you have until you know what they value. I never completely understood what he meant. Until now. Michael knew my father had left me an inheritance. He knew there were investments, property, family assets. I had told him Dad had arranged everything before he died. But I had never told Michael the amount, not once. The number was $68 million. $68 million. It wasn't money I believed made me better than anyone else. It was the result of decades of investments, family holdings, and assets my father had carefully protected. The inheritance was placed inside a trust created by attorneys my father had trusted for years. And according to the legal documents, the money belonged to me. Not Michael, not his mother, not his family, me. I had kept the amount secret for one simple reason. I wanted to know whether my future husband would love me if he believed I had nothing. For the first year we dated, Michael gave me every reason to believe the answer was yes. He never asked about my salary. He never complained about my military schedule. When I had to leave for training, he brought me coffee before dawn and told me how proud he was of me. That was the man I thought I knew. His mother was different. Evelyn had always been charming in public. But underneath her manners was something calculating. She asked questions that sounded innocent. "What did your father do with his investments? Did he leave you the family home? Were there business interests?" I always answered vaguely. Michael usually changed the subject. So when I married him, I believed my secret was safe. I was wrong. 6 days after our wedding, I was standing in my kitchen making coffee when the doorbell rang. When I opened the door, Evelyn was standing there. Beside her was a man in a dark suit, carrying a leather briefcase. "Good morning, Claire," she said. I looked at the man. "Who is this?" "My attorney." My stomach tightened. "Why is your attorney here?" Evelyn smiled. "We need to discuss your inheritance." For a moment, I simply stared at her. Then she walked into my home and sat at my kitchen table as though she already owned the place.